just for the sake of it, you know, new people. So I'm sitting here with Terell Wheeler and his brand,
A Visualist Visions.
and he's going to break down what that's all about and maybe a little bit of conversation afterwards. So.
Yeah. Okay, so basically what the brand is, if you want to call it a brand, it would be a lifestyle brand. I like to call it more of a creative hub because it's film, it's art, it's writing, and skateboarding as well, because I've skateboarded maybe since I was 12. More so filming skateboarding. I can skate as well, but I'm more on the filming aspect of it, and I love the lifestyle. And that's really where the art and stuff come from as well, because that's what you're really surrounded by when you're skateboarding. So there's just a lot of creatives coming together for this big purpose, and that's kind of how the brand works as well. It's all these little things, all these different medias coming together for one big purpose. And the A is the logo for A Visualist Visions. And the A pretty much stands for, it comes from me creating so much on my own. Not that I don't like to collaborate with people, but it's just, that's how it's always been with me. And it's made up of bones to come together and make the A, because bones are what make up the human body, and you can't really function without all your bones working and being whole. And being whole is a huge part of it as well, because I'm a spiritual person as well. And in order to be whole, you have to be, I want to say, just complete in different ways in your life. And art is what makes me complete, and as well as the Lord, but definitely art, because I love creating, and I feel like everyone needs that outlet or escape from just, I guess, reality, the world. And so this is kind of what I do to do that.
So what age did you really realize, like,
this is what I'm gonna do?
This is what I want to do. This is my life, and no one's gonna tell me otherwise.
Dude, like, the core of it all really is film. So age 12, when I started filming my cousin and all his friends skateboarding, because I'm like, these dudes are doing cool stuff and I'm not that great at it. So well, not that I wasn't like horrible, not that I was horrible, but more so they were better than me, and I like to like help people get exposure with talents and stuff, and try and help people go places if I can, whatever I can do to help. That's really what made me want to film, is documenting. And through film came this, and then this, and then this, and now it's like all, it'll be one thing. People will see soon. It's a lot right now, and it looks scattered everywhere, but it's all for good.
So we talked earlier about how you used to have one thing. One thing was very brand specific, but you said it was kind of wild and all over the place.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if you've been following you, like some people have. That kind of like shifted that structure. So could you explain where it shifted, why it shifted, and
so
the future of where you want to go with it, if you've thought that far ahead?
Oh yeah, I'm always thinking that far. Really, I moved to Chicago for 3 years, and I got a lot of life experience there, which is what I needed. Because here, when I was here, I couldn't grow the way I wanted to, really. And I just needed to see a lot more life and be exposed to a lot more different things. And some of those things were good, some of those things were bad, some of those things were weird, some of those things were, But I needed that for the art that I'm doing, you know what I mean? And I feel like everyone needs that. Everyone needs to kind of get out and get perception of what the world is. Because if you don't have perception, you're going to be stuck in this one spot. Not necessarily Indiana, but in your mind, you're going to be stuck in one place. And you're going to think, oh, this can't happen, this can't happen, this can't. But no, there's so many things that are possible if you just open your eyes. So many things are possible. But yeah, that's where so many other things came from it, and it became like a solid thing. Like, this is what I know I'm gonna do, and then I started to learn the business aspect of it, and that's the important part, is the business aspect of it. And it's not that I'm about money, but it's like, as an artist, you believe in you more than anyone else believes in you. So unless you can get people to believe, like off top, like, oh, he's got this, you're gonna have to work at that. And so for now, it's like I'm doing most of it on my own. Not that I'm minded, but I mean, I would love to have a team. I love having
I think
people.
everyone wants that
For sure.
group to back them up.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It'll come.
Yeah, eventually.
For sure.
But you're working at it. You're getting there.
Absolutely.
Let's enjoy it.
That's cool.
Now, you mentioned Chicago. What led you to come back to Indiana? Because Indiana's scene necessarily isn't really
Art
as
stuff.
broad
Let
as
me.
theirs.
I don't want to get too deep into that, but what really led me to come back is, this is home. This is where I need to be right now. This is where it's gonna be right to do this, because it's not it's not really here in the way it should be. And people don't understand with art. It's not just like, oh, little paint, little this, oh, little drawing. It's not that. It's art can really save the world if you really look at it. If you really look at, like, look out. Architecture is art. Writing is art. Forms of speaking is art. But that needs to be bigger in certain areas, because even music is a huge thing. And like, some of these kids are like, they don't know what to do, so they're doing bad things. Music is a great escape. It's like, even if it's a hobby, like, it's just a really, art is a really, it's important.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah, it's important. It's really important.
Good outlet. So, you have your hats and your clothes.
Yeah.
How necessarily, because you said you are working by yourself.
Yeah.
How do you go by printing, doing it? How do you...
Okay, so the process is block printing. Block printing is, you have linoleum. You have linoleum block, or you have linoleum, like, little pad things. I'm sure everyone knows what linoleum is. It's what's on your floor. You draw on it. You can create negative spaces where you want to carve out, and so you carve it, and then you get your design. Then you roll ink on it, and you can put it on whatever you really want to put it on. I chose hats. That's like my favorite thing. I also have shirts and just like little cloth thingies, because I love the process. Really, that's why I chose block printing. I love the process of it. I like working with my hands, and I wanted to choose an art form. Most art forms you use your hands, but I wanted to choose an art form to where it's like more intimate, kind of, if you want to say that, because like I said, I'm spiritual, and I feel like you'll get a different sense if you see the actual process of me doing it. And like, if I were to sell you like a shirt or something that I bought, you'd be like, oh, he put a lot of work into this. Like, that makes it that much more, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Now, you showed me one of the shirts, and going back on that whole intimacy thing, you can definitely tell, because like, the way it's labeled and printed on there, it's not clean.
Yeah.
It's not like fleshed out or anything. It's like very spotty in some places.
Yeah.
And like, I thought that was really cool.
That's my thing too. It's like, I'll grab the shirt actually. I'll grab the shirt. Alright. What I was saying before the camera turned off. So this, I think it was supposed to be, I thought it was a men's shirt because it was in the men's aisle. But I think it's a girl shirt because it fits really tight. But this is kind of the design that he was talking about. And then like the colors I choose are, I just like red a lot, honestly. But I choose red. Red because To me, red represents like passion and love and like roses are red and like beauty and like stuff like that. That's why I choose red, and like blood, sweat, tears go into, the art. So that's really where the red comes from. But I'm starting to experiment with more colors since I've been home because what you're surrounded by kind of is what your art comes from, and so I'm starting to use more yellows and more blues and like cold colors and pasteless colors and stuff like that. And like
That's cool. You're embracing.
yeah,
the look.
yeah. I don't want to.
Pacers, yeah.
I don't like to limit myself. That's another thing. That's another reason why there's so many things in it. People think that's like, oh, you have to do one thing. No, you can learn and get good at so many different things. But it's just, is that where you want to put? Is that where your heart is? That's where my heart is.
Now you said like you kind of shoot for imperfections sometimes.
Yeah.
But at what point do you draw the line in saying like, okay, I want an imperfection here? At what point does that kind of like affect what you're doing? Like, say you were working on something film-wise and you had a cut that you were like, I feel as if that cut needed to be there, but if me as a viewer wouldn't, like if you just called me in to watch it, I didn't understand that cut specifically, but you felt so passionately about that cut, it was your imperfection, but it led to confusion on the viewer. How would you go by, like, at what point do you, like, stop yourself from making these imperfections, which are perfections to you?
I don't really know if I ever really stopped making them because I feel like that's a really important part of the film, but film or whatever I'm doing, but like what I can give you is an explanation.
Okay.
I can definitely give you an explanation of things that I do. I mean, most people are like, you don't have to explain yourself, and I believe that you don't have to explain yourself with everything, but some things, like imperfections, you probably do because that's just what people are so used to, just like perfect, perfect, perfect. But like, say like, I painted on this water bottle rather, and I just like slapped it on there, which I would never do, but I would be able to explain to you why I did that because I write down these things as I'm making these imperfections. So even with the film that I'm working on right now, there's things that I'm purposely doing that are kind of off, and I'm writing down as I do it just so people understand when that time comes for me to explain that, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like that.
So you said you're working on something now. Can you go into detail, or would you rather not divulge all that?
It's just what I can say. It's an important film. It's a film that I feel like it's got some personal things in it, and then it's got some things that people will be able to relate to. It's not. I wouldn't say it's my life, but there's aspects of my life in it. But that's as much as I can give you about that. It's gonna be. I saw Donnie Darko, and I looked up the age of the director, and he made that at 23. So that's been my goal, to make that film for my, like, you know what I mean? By that age or earlier. That's been since 2012. Like, that's what I'm like, I'm gonna make a film that's by
That's
that age.
your baby.
Yeah.
Your masterpiece.
Yeah.
So, going back to the age thing, since we're on that subject, so many people, like, age is no longer becoming something that's stopping people. We have people like Designer out, who's 18 right now, and he's has a #1 hit on the Billboard Top 50, something that you can call him an imitator, but Future still hasn't cracked the 28th spot. That's as high as he's gone. People like Ryan Coogler, I think he's 26. How many other 26-year-olds do you see going from one short to an independent film that's critically acclaimed for just its message, without being preachy, its message that a time that was very important for that message to come out, to going on to making a successor to one of the most iconic film series in history, to now he's manning his own movie and like putting his own character in the well, it's not his character, but his own spin on the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So everyone's these different ages, no longer really like. I'd say it's more about what do you want to do than like, oh, you're not experienced yet.
Mhm.
It's how experienced do you want yourself to be?
That's the thing. That's the thing that people need to learn. Like, we're what's in your heart, what's in you, and whatever you want to learn, you can learn. That's how I come across art. Like, people tell you, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this because you're this, because you're no. I'm gonna do what I feel like, you know, I've been blessed to do, and I'm gonna go after that. And that's how I feel like these younger kids are thinking, like myself and like the people you mentioned. They're like, I can do this, and it's usually because you've seen someone else do it. So why not? Why not try it? What are you? The most you're gonna do is fail.
Mm-hmm.
And if you fail, you're gonna learn from failing.
Exactly.
So
Learn from those experiences.
what do you really have to lose? I mean, there's probably sometimes some things to lose, but more than likely, if you see your vision clearly, no one's gonna be able to stop you. Nothing's gonna be able to stop you, and people are gonna support you along the way, even if they don't see it now. That's the thing. You have to get people to be able to see what you're seeing, and that's hard sometimes. So you just have to show. But it'll come. Like, that's the thing. Like, people are. It's just younger kids. They see what they want. It's about knowing what you want.
How do you feel about? I don't know. It seems like even though we're talking about seeing what you want, age is no longer a number. People are kind of shifting towards this mentality that the world owes them something.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that? I mean, clearly, I don't get that from you. That
No,
you're like,
not at
oh,
all.
the world owes me. I've been working hard. I deserve to do this. I deserve to do that. No, you're like, I gotta keep working until I get what I want.
Right.
You're paying your dues.
Right. And it's like I've helped a lot of people for a long time, and I'm continuing to help a lot of people. And I don't feel like you should be like, because the world owes me, because the world doesn't owe you anything. But at the same time, it's like you do have to have this mentality where it's like, okay, I gotta help myself as well. Not be like the world owes me anything, because the world doesn't owe you anything. You gotta work for anything you want. But like I said, at the same time, you do have to take care of yourself a little bit. But don't be so like, oh, you owe me this because of this. No. Like even I've said like, I've helped these people for so long, and like those people, you know, turn their backs on me. Still, I'm still gonna keep pressing, keep moving forward. But like, no one owes you anything. You have to work. If it's a dream you have, then you have to work for it. You have to figure out how you're gonna make it happen. If no one wants to help you, you have to learn these things. You have to push. You have to push yourself. You have to motivate yourself. You know, like that's what I feel about that.
Okay, now you're saying you have to work for yourself, but we live in a time where Kickstarter's a thing. You know, GoFundMe's a thing. So
That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, find those outlets
Mhm.
to where you can expose what you're trying to do to in a more, well, what do I want to say?
broad.
Yeah, a broad way, and because if it's not people in your own city, trust me, there's people that are gonna see what you're doing, and if they see the passion, and if they see the vision clearly, and you explain it well, they will support it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, that's technically working for you. It's a DIY way in a way, if you think about it.
I think that's where we are now.
Yeah.
Everything's not really like. I mean, we still have things like, with me being a film major, a lot of the things I'm gonna say are probably gonna link back to film.
Yeah.
But we still kind of have a studio system to an extent. But like, a lot of people are breaking that mold. Like, I think his name is Jeremy Saulner.
Yeah.
Blue Ruin, that was completely funded through Kickstarter, and from there on, he went on to make Green Room, excellent movie, and he like got the funding that he needed from that from like a studio, all because people saw his vision, because he explained it well, and it paid off for him.
That's the thing, dude. People will come to you once they see that you're like really into it, because not a lot of people talk. A lot of people. And we can just talk about that.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So, I don't know, just to kind of segue back from where we were. YouTube and Vimeo,
Yeah.
those are markets that are being like, not exploited, but they're being played with more.
Yeah.
And like things are still being discovered on there. Like I know a thing, I watch a lot of tech videos on YouTube. YouTube.
Okay.
And like a thing that they're kind of starting to explore is 360 video. It's something that not everyone's really doing. It's becoming cool with virtual reality. 360 video is something that people want. So it's like, how exactly would you say, like, oh, I want to go on YouTube, I want to go on Vimeo. How would you make your own voice for yourself there? Because there's so many videos and people on there.
That's the thing. It's building. You have to really build an audience. You have to build these things, and it's not easy. It's really getting people to believe in you, showing your vision, making sure it's clear, and then the rest you just hope for and put your stuff out there and see who likes it, see who doesn't, and you just learn from that constantly. And another thing I think I'm gonna start doing is once I get my film done, because Vimeo also has this thing where you can now have people like pay to watch your films and stuff. So that's something I'm gonna look into, because I've put out so many things for free. Like if you look at my YouTube, there's like 100 to almost 200 videos on there. Like I've put in the work, and I'm
content.
Yeah, dude, I'm still doing it. Like what I learned from all those videos is a lot, and some I shouldn't have shot, but you have to take a risk to learn. But really, I picked up an aesthetic, my own aesthetic, and that's where, like I said, the rawness comes from, and that's in everything. You'll see it in everything. So it's something that's on purpose. Like my aesthetic is, even with my clothes and stuff, like there's an aesthetic to it all. But it's really about, like, people don't get it. It's about the person, not like, oh, being selfish or whatever. But if people can see, you know what I mean, see like who and how you are,
they'll vibe with it.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
So you said, excuse me, it was. I'll ignore it for now. I'm drawing a blank.
Are you good?
Sorry about that. Well, I guess that part's kind of done, but we can talk about some things that maybe are interesting in your life right now. So, what are some things, music-wise, film-wise, television? What are some things that really have your attention right now?
Chance's coloring book, music-wise.
That's got everyone to do.
Yeah, it's great. Dude, it's just kids our age. Who's doing that? You know what I mean? Who's doing that passionately and like, I don't care what people think. Like, listen to some of the lyrics. It's kind of crazy.
One guy in my
One
guy in my work was like, yeah, this is how I realized how great that album was. I was sitting in my car, driving down the highway, windows down, blasting it full sail, and I realized I'm listening to How Great Is Our God, and I have no problem. I'm not a religious person,
Right.
but I have no problem with this at all, because I know it's building, and when it gets there, it's gonna get there, and I'm gonna love it, because no one else is really forging that path like that. He's doing gospel music in a way that, like, people aren't really going into. Yeah, he's not.
It's not.
He's
like,
evangelizing, but he's not yelling at you like forcing it down your throat.
Right, dude. That's the thing. People don't get that these days. That's an important thing too, because you have to give kids our age a different way to see things, because kids think church is one thing and it's not really. Because I go to church now and it's not really. I mean, there's aspects of it, but it's not really what I think people think it is.
I feel like there's a stigma behind it, that it's not necessarily, like, I don't want to say scary, but to some it may be considered a little. I guess I have to say it's scary, because, like, it's a daunting thing. You're around so many people, and if you don't necessarily believe, it's not like anyone's gonna judge you, because they don't know that, but so many people, and then you have people speaking in tongues. Some people fall out in church. I know in my church people fall out and speaking in tongues. I'm a Christian, and that's intimidating.
It's something, dude. It's a lot, especially when you're a new believer or you just haven't been to church in a long time. It's definitely something. It's. I mean, I'm around that too. Like I go to you know. Like, that's the kind of church I go
Apostolic.
to. Apostolic, yeah, that's what it is. and it's like a lot of that same stuff.
Yeah.
It's very intense, but it's just the feeling you get from it all. It's the right place, and that's what a lot of people need that they don't think they need. But if you're not doing anything else, I don't see why you can't go. I'm not like forcing anyone to go to church. That's not what it is at all, because I didn't go to church for a long time, but I know now that like since where I've been in my life and where I'm at now, it's a good thing.
You definitely find it at different points.
Yeah. Some people find it when they're like 30. Some people find it
Close to death.
Yeah.
Some people find it when they're young and they're raised around that. Some
Right.
people get lost.
Right.
It's a common thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
These things are normal.
For
But,
sure.
Yeah, no, like, I think it was Kirk Franklin who said it, and I can't think of a better way to say it. When he was getting a lot of flack for working on Life of Pablo,
Yeah.
or at least his prayer, a lot of people were like, why are you working with Kanye West? Kanye West is Antichrist. Why are you working with him? And he was like, cuz Kanye, you guys aren't listening to what he's putting out. You guys aren't listening to this album, but the people that are may need to hear something like this. And if I don't do it, Kanye asked me to come and preach or pray on his track. I'm not going to say no, because that's a way that I'm spreading the message that everyone here wants to spread. You can't judge other people because, like, they fell. They did something that you didn't like. I mean, yeah, you can say, I don't like that person, but at the end of the day, you don't know what they're going through.
Dude, and that's the thing. People need this, that some people just see like there's one way and this is the only way to spread this message. No, there's not. There's not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't believe that at all.
And he's always gotten flack for his music, for being kind of, I wouldn't say secular. People consider it secular, but he goes R&B. He goes different genres. He plays with them because
people don't
just listen to like tambourines thumping and dun dun dun. It's,
you have to
spread yourself.
dude. Yeah, you have to